I am honored this morning to share some thoughts with you about Mr. Peloquin. I first met him in August of 1971. Mr. Charette, Mr. Peloquin, and I had been hired that year to teach at Jesuit by Father Norton, Jesuit's principal at that time. It was a very different time back then. There were fewer than 30 teachers on staff. This included 11 Jesuits in the classroom, along with 17 laymen and 1 lady. There were 9 more Jesuits in the administrative and business offices. The student body numbered 500, about 250 fewer than today. Before coming to Jesuit, Mr. Peloquin had worked for 5 years in a seminary in Pennsylvania. While there, he taught philosophy, English, Latin, Greek, French, and Spanish. When the seminary closed, he sent out letters to schools in Florida, seeking not only a teaching position, but a move to a state with warmer weather. In response to the letter he sent to Jesuit, he received a call from Father Norton, indicating that Jesuit would have an opening in Latin for the following school year. Since he and his wife, Joan, were coming to Tampa during this Easter break to look at the area, he interviewed with Father Norton at that time. After the interview, he returned to the Tahitian Inn on Dale Mabry, where he and Joan were staying. He immediately received a call from Father Norton. The call was routed to his room through the inn's switchboard, since there were no cell phones at that time. Father offered him the position and wanted him to come back to the school to sign a contract. He did, and the rest is history. Mr. Peloquin drove the family belongings to Florida in August and rented a home in Town and Country. His wife made the trip a short while later. They stayed in the rental home for about 10 months while construction on their new home, also in Town and Country, was completed. They raised their family in this home and still live there. One thing that immediately stood out to me about Mr. Peloquin was how he considered the move to Tampa and his hire at Jesuit to be the work of God. He was here because God had a plan for him. He also had no idea how long he would stay at Jesuit. He would go wherever he was called to serve. Walking out to the parking lot one day during teacher planning in August of '71, my attention was drawn to the strange tires on his car. Being born and raised in Tampa, I had never seen anything like them. He explained to me that they were snow tires. They actually had steel spikes on them for traction. Mr. Peloquin rode around in Tampa on them for some time, but eventually got regular tires. Not knowing what the future would bring, he kept the snow tires in his attic in case he was called to go back to the snow country. About 3 years ago, I asked him about those tires. He told me just a few months earlier, he had finally taken them to the dump. I guess that after almost 40 years, he finally felt that he had a permanent position at Jesuit and a home in Tampa. During his first years at Jesuit, he taught Latin. In those days, the top 50 to 60 students accepted to Jesuit each year were required to take Latin. When that requirement changed and interest in Spanish grew, the number in Latin fell off and he was faced with a new challenge. The school needed him to teach Spanish. As always, he said, "We'll make it work." He simply took on the challenge and taught Spanish along with Latin. Over the years, as the number of students taking Latin increased or decreased, he had to adjust. More Spanish classes to teach and combined levels of Latin in the same class were some of the different realities that faced him. All of this in an effort to keep Latin alive at Jesuit while staffing the Spanish classes. Through all of this, he never complained. As a matter of fact, I have never heard him complain about anything in the 41 years that we have worked together. He was never a part of school rumors or rumbles. He has been a faithful employee and colleague. As you all know, Mr. Peloquin knows the student handbook better than most of us. He knew things in there that I didn't know, and I actually had a hand in writing and rewriting major portions of it. This knowledge of the rules and enforcement of them has made him a legend with current students and alumni. It also made him one of the best PSAT, SAT, and ACT proctors one could have. When you turn over a class of test takers to him, you knew that they would have a fair opportunity to do their best because he would make sure that everyone worked by the rules. He proctored the SAT and ACT during the 19 years that I was the school's test supervisor. I never had to worry about his rooms. He was so good at it that when Jesuit wasn't a test site, other schools would hire him to administer the tests at their schools. I can't remember even one irregularity in all of the years that he administered these tests. Mr. Peloquin introduced the National Latin Exam to the Jesuit in 1978. He was also the first to take our Latin students to the Latin Forum. Some of us can remember the chariots that he and his students built for competitions at the forums. And who can forget the melodic and slightly off-key voices of his Latin students vigorously singing Christmas carols in Latin. As technology grows at Jesuit, one has to look at his classroom as one of the first to use computers to help students learn. These were old computers lined up across the back of his classroom that he gathered from different sources, but they fulfilled the needs of his students. This quiet, private man has been a steady, positive force throughout his 41 years at Jesuit. Countless teachers and administrators have come and gone during his years at Jesuit, but he has remained. It is odd to walk by room 201 and not see him there. Every time that he and I met to sign his contract for the following school year, he would always say, "I'll be here as long as Jesuit wants me." I am sure that he said the same thing to many other principals. Jesuit wanted him again, but God apparently had another calling for him. This dedicated family man with 4 children and 9 grandchildren has been called to stay home to take care of his wife as she suffers with a bad back. I am sure that this isn't the way he wanted his teaching career to end, but in his typical fashion, it is what he has accepted. As always, he has been the good and faithful servant to his family, to his students, to Jesuit, and most of all, to God. I guess God really did have a plan for him at Jesuit, and it has been a blessing for all of us, his colleagues and his students.